Hey everyone, Jay Whitner here with Space Headlines. We do a quick recap every week of what's going on in space, and today we're going to be talking about the third week of October 2019. Our first item has to do with SpaceX and their Starlink internet satellite constellation. The news is they recently applied for communication spectrum for 30,000 additional satellites beyond the 12,000 they'd already talked about for Starlink, bringing the total to 42,000 satellites in total, or what they're contemplating for the Starlink constellation. Since Sputnik was launched back in 1957, roughly 10,000 satellites have been launched, of which a lot of them have already re-entered by now. So this represents over 4 times more than the total number of satellites that have ever been launched in history. And people are concerned about the risk of collisions and space debris that could come about from the rise of these huge new constellations, because SpaceX isn't the only one. NASA plans to send an ice-seeking rover to the moon. This craft that you see here, a mock-up, is called Viper. They want to send it to the South Pole in 2022. Hopefully, this rover would be able to last for an extended period of time, seeking ice and water, well, I guess frozen water, at the moon's South Pole, and to last for an extended time doing so. They're saying that this is roughly the size of a golf cart. So this is long past due. I've been an advocate for us sending rovers to both lunar poles for quite some time, so I'm really happy to see this. Hopefully everything will be funded and launch on time and proceed smoothly. NASA is moving forward with the Space Launch System. They did some interim funding. This is not like the full contract, but some early dollars toward buying 10 more Space Launch System rockets. This is exciting because the SLS system is years behind schedule, billions of dollars over budget. So it's a little exciting that NASA is committing or making the initial steps toward committing to 10 more rockets. The hope is that by shifting from a situation where it's sort of a one-off production to assembly line production, that the cost savings will hopefully be material to make the rocket economically viable. The European Space Agency is talking about a 16% budget increase. That's what they want to ask the member states of ESA for. There's 22 countries that are involved. And one neat thing about the way they do it is it's in 3-year blocks, which should be a nice thing if we could get something like that going over here. The multi-year funding seems like it would be a big advantage. But ESA faces a lot of challenges, one of which is the Ariane 6. The Ariane 5 rocket has been a huge success for a very long time, and ESA was working on developing the successor of the Ariane 6 and came up with the idea that they wanted it to be able to launch stuff at operational costs of roughly half of the prior version. But given the huge advantage of SpaceX and reusability and so forth, there's a real concern that this level of reduction, the 50% reduction that they're targeting, is going to be enough. So that's one of the difficulties that the European Space Agency is facing. SpaceX, as I was just alluding to, has really revolutionized the large satellite market with great service, high reliability, and the lowest prices. And SpaceX is moving into the small launch marketplace, offering launches per pound, per kilogram, at far lower prices than anyone else. And this is going to be a very interesting thing because there's a whole lot of launch providers that are targeting the small launch market, presumably not really anticipating that SpaceX was going to step into this market. So we'll have to see how all this shakes out over time. More from SpaceX. Elon is charging forward on the Starship project. And they've just started building a third Starship prototype. This image is from Florida. So they now have one in Texas and two in Florida. They're looking at some new production approaches for this particular prototype that they're doing. New techniques that should save weight on the steel. Can also have a maybe a better look and feel to the public, in that it won't have quite the same segmented appearance that the prototype everybody looked at in Texas has. So maybe a better looking rocket in addition to all its other benefits. Made in Space, the leading company worldwide in space manufacturing, is now wanting to bring recycling to the International Space Station. So the device that you see depicted here is a joint venture between Made in Space and Braskem. And the idea here is that waste plastic on the space station and anything that had previously been 3D printed using the Made in Space printers up there that's no longer needed, all that could be broken down to become feedstock to make new things. So this is really a breakthrough moving forward, because even with the advances and reduction of launch costs, it still costs a lot to get stuff up there. So recycling is clearly indicated whenever possible, and Made in Space is taking a big step here. So congratulations to them. That's it for Space Headlines for the third week of October. Hope you enjoyed our show. Check back with us in a week or so, and we'll have the final week of October. Take care.